Auzubillahiminash-shaytanir-rajeem. Bismillahir-rahmanir-rahim. Assalamu alaikum. Ji ayanu, pakhair ragale, ni hao, chunashumme, washmale, ohaya gozaimasu, guten Morgen, hola, bonjour, privyet, kaifa hal, hale shuma chatore, ahlan wasalan, marhaba, buna, mucho, gracias, suavi, abhalli kereaya. And thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for tuning into PTV World. You're definitely watching World this morning, alongside the one and only Shahzad Hasan Khan. Ladies and gentlemen, first things first, the weather over in Islamabad is perfectly well. I think it has been sunny for the last 3 or 4 days as well. Where I think that it's not that cold that you cannot bear it or probably live without it. So the temperatures are coming down, but even though while I was driving towards work, it was 8 degrees or 9 degrees outside. So please make sure that you wear your warm clothes all the time, because I really do not anybody to kind of shiver or, God forbid, be under the weather as well. Other than that, I hope and pray that everybody out there is ready to kickstart their day with us, because today it's going to be history in the making. And ladies and gentlemen, because we are going to witness the opening ceremony or the curtain raiser for PSL 7, it's really important to let you know what's going to happen. So the defending champions Multan Sultan and Karachi Kings, ladies and gentlemen, will be locking their horns tonight. That's going to be a fantastic match. Karachi Kings with Babar Azam, the captain now, I think has quite a lot of to display. Because when we talk about Karachi Kings, I think they have been very unfortunate in the last season as well. But this time around, their bench strength is wonderful as well. And the entire team, I think, is very much gelled in with a lot of international players coming in, with a lot of foreign players coming in. I think that they are on the stronger side. But Multan Sultan, you can, expect anything in cricket, because, ladies and gentlemen, whenever we are supposed to talk about cricket, they say cricket is a very funny game, because you never know who's going to win, because the match changes within an over, with one ball, one delivery as well, with two deliveries as well. So we hope and pray that everything out there is going to be wonderfully organized, managed, and that we are going to witness a PSL 7 season that too very smoothly. And it's because of the fact that we wanted to share the visuals as well, but I hope whenever the producer is ready. But other than that, ladies and gentlemen, the best part is that PTV Sports, ladies and gentlemen, has been converted to HD from SD as well. So for all of those matches of PSL 7, you will be able to witness them in high definition, and this is something which is very interesting. But ladies and gentlemen, I think I really need to kind of mention over here that Alhamdulillah, I got lucky to do the test transmission of HD for PTV Sports as well. Ladies and gentlemen, now coming towards what we are discussing about today. So while we talk about talent, while we talk about working hard, while we talk about how we really need to have amazing goals right in front of us so that we achieve whatever we want to, or however we see our life, not a lot of people think about a lot of other people who might not have been able to make it or probably live the life they wanted to, And ladies and gentlemen, when it comes down to the distribution of all of these things we utilize, there's no challenging Allah Almighty, because Allah has a very different setup of how the entire division is going to take place. And that's where, we men come in, because from whatever Allah gives us, it is mandatory for us to kind of spend from it. It's not that we are spending from it, but it is actually Allah allowing us to spend it onto other people, so that in the life hereafter, we really get to go to the heavens as well. And this is a proverb which is used by a lot of people as well, and this is something which my father taught me. I'm going to say it in Urdu because that's how it is. कि ऊपर वाला हाथ नीचे वाले हाथ से बेहतर होता है. But ladies and gentlemen, a person who's always at the giving end is the one who will be at the receiving end from Allah Almighty only as well. And this is one thing which everybody needs to learn. And it's because of the fact that when we talk about Pakistan, Pakistan has been ranked amongst the top countries in the index of being most philanthropic. May it be the 2005 earthquake, may it be the floods, may it be any natural calamity, we have seen Pakistanis coming together, may it be the expat community. Everybody comes in together, they gel in, and they make sure that they are going to help other people. I think at this point of time, what we really need to talk about is how our premier actually came up with the concept of Shaukat Khana Memorial Hospital as well, where you get free cancer treatments. And this is something which was not done in Pakistan before as well. And now, alhamdulillah, we have more than 3 or 4 hospitals of Shaukat Khana working and in 100% functionality, where people are getting free treatments. That too for a disease like cancer, where the treatment is very expensive. So these gentlemen, we will be in conversation. This gentleman himself will be in conversation with him because he has served within the Air Force as well and outside the Air Force, and he has been related to the aviation field. Whenever we talk about all of the constructions of the airports all over the country, he has been involved in it. But all of a sudden, he changed and he thought that, hey, you know what, I really need to give back to the community. And he came up with an NGO named Helping Hands. What are they doing is something we are figuring out today. We're very lucky, ladies and gentlemen, that we have actually been joined by Mr. Waqas Ahmed Sheikh Saab all the way from Malaysia. Hello, assalamu alaikum. How are you? Good morning.
Good morning. Alaikum assalam. Selamat pagi, as we say in Malaysia here.
Wow, that's wonderful. Can you say it again? I want to repeat it after you.
It is Selamat pagi.
Salamat Pakid.
Yeah, that's
Is that
right.
it?
Well said.
Well, that's wonderful. So thank you very much, Waqas Saab, for joining us. It's wonderful to have you. And what a vibrant, energetic face you have. And, you know, the way you're dressed up, I think it just kind of gives me the vibe that you're up and ready to do whatever Helping Hands needs you for, which is, I believe, is wonderful. But I want to talk about, you know, the first half of your life where you spent it in the aviation industry. Almost each and every airport which was being constructed within Pakistan, you were a part of it, and you've always made sure, and not just over here, even internationally. So how was that life? Let's talk about that first of all, and then we'll come down towards Helping Hands. So please go ahead.
Thank you so much for having me on this show. It's really an honor and a pleasure to be, here and to share my experience. Being an overseas Pakistani, being a part of Pakistani's diaspora, have been living abroad for the last 20 years. I mean, as our Prime Minister always says, and we feel proud, we always, thought to contribute in the society by delivering not only the professional services, but also keeping in mind, as you very well explained today, that if we have been blessed and chosen by Almighty Allah, we have a certain duties to fulfill, whether to creating jobs, whether to deliver state-of-the-art solutions that help our society and community, and ultimately what we have been blessed have to pay back in terms of helping others. So back to your first question, aviation. Um, Very humble to say that lucky to be in this industry for last almost 16 years. The industry, just like again, we say that there are certain industries that can contribute in the society by creating many jobs in different functions. Airport sector as a part of aviation industry is one of them. And when I started my career from Pakistan and then moved to Saudi Arabia, I started operating. And very soon, I work for a company which is a global market leader, operating for around the globe, serving around 3,000 airports. And so the company has completed 100 years. I was the first Pakistani that have been hired by that organization where I'm currently working for. And my mentor who said to me, don't be the last Pakistani. You have to set a trend, be an ambassador of the country. And from here onward, we need to make sure now that we not only transfer the know-how and technology to our country, but really open so many ventures that can live for a future. Luckily, I remember those wonderful guidelines. Started serving, as you mentioned rightfully, Pakistan Civil Aviation Authority, as well as the military, Pakistan Air Forces, Pakistan Navy, as well as the Army Aviation. And then we got involved in massive projects. Lucky to be part of the first greenfield of Pakistan, which is New Islamabad International Airport.
Yep.
And Shadad, as you know, the airports are a gateway for not only for the foreigners or those who are investing in our country, coming for FDI, looking for even expand their businesses, but also for 9 million Pakistani, overseas Pakistanis, the Pakistanis diaspora. And when we get that gateway, we used to have a lot of challenges. Whether you land at Islamabad International Airport, you suffer because of the low visibility in Lahore, or you travel to other different countries, or even the most important, the domestic aviation. So we felt the need that the country needs to improve the infrastructure, deploy the new technologies that are aligned with the future. And rightfully, I'm proud to say that ahead of other countries, even our neighboring countries, we started deploying the latest technologies. Like Islamabad International Airport is the first airport that has got the greenfield technologies, the LEDs and the runway. Lahore, we made it sure now that there are no more cancellation of flights. We help our aircrafts for safe landing and departure while deploying the system that can operate in all weather conditions. And consequently, I mean, I'm making it very short, but consequently, we move towards our military, make sure that our Shaheens they are using the facility, whether it's a forward operating bases, whether it's a main air bases, that they have all time availability of those facilities whenever and whatever they want to achieve that using those facilities. There will be no bottlenecks. And alhamdulillah, so many different missions classified, but we contributed, and today those airfields, those airports are progressing, and I would say a
Alhamdulillah.
great future ahead.
And it's wonderful, sir, because whenever we talk about the importance of technology, I think it just cannot be neglected, and everybody and each and every nation these days is making sure that they are technologically at least ahead, if they cannot be ahead in terms of economy as well. But you know, the economy and technology intervention comes hand in hand as well. But that's wonderful. And sir, you know, you've had a lucrative career, alhamdulillah, and the way you're doing things is something which is marvelous, bringing back good name to Pakistan. And I am honored that that I got a chance to actually interview you today. But now, sir, there's one more important question before we move on towards helping hands and how you had a change of mindset, or probably you were doing it before. But before we move on to that, what I need to ask you is, sir, because when we travel internationally, this is something I have seen. Now, for example, if I am to catch a flight for Lahore, I have to leave like 1.5 hours earlier from my place, go to the airport, settle down, be at the ticketing counter, then wait for another 30 minutes, 45 minutes, then the boarding will take place. So it's more almost a 5 hour journey for me to go to Lahore. I can do it in 4, if I want to go by my car. Now, what I don't get is that, when we travel internationally, people are using airplanes like buses. It's not like a luxury. People, for somebody who wants to go from Chicago to LA, they're just going to book a ticket, go there, they have already been checked in, there's no hassle, and all of a sudden they're in the plane, takes them 30 minutes to board a plane, and there they go. Why do you think that over here in Pakistan we have it as a luxury that 4 घंटे पहले 2 घंटे आप एयरपोर्ट जाएंगे, फिर आप इंतजार करेंगे, फिर बोर्डिंग करेंगे? I think we really need to normalize using an airplane now or an aircraft, and it's not a luxury anymore. It's a necessity. How can we achieve that? And I want you to kind of do something about it so that it's more convenient for people to travel here and there if they're traveling for work, luxury, or business, or whatsoever it is.
Shazad, you are just touching the pain points, and there are many pain points for our customers, for our passengers. I mean, I'll give you some statistics that will help you to answer me this question.
True.
I mean, internationally, before the COVID, there were around 9 billion travelers around the world. And those 9 billion travelers, 70% or more than that are domestic travelers, contributing around $3.5 trillion in economy, helping to create around 88, 89 million jobs around the world. Of course, then the COVID came, and then it's a different situation. But your question, very valid. Pakistan, again, if we compare in other countries in South Asia or Southeast Asia, total number of passengers in Pakistan as of last year, pre-COVID again, because COVID is not the norm that we should benchmark.
True.
Just pre-COVID, we were about 19 to 20 million passengers per year. And out of those, 70 or 80% were international travelers, because Pakistanis are more than 9 million living abroad. It's pity, only 25 to 30% are the domestic travelers, as you mentioned. And one of the pain points you mentioned, again, not ease of traveling, not luxury traveling, not convenience to board on the check-ins, starting from really entering at the airport, going through the check-in, getting the aircrafts, offloading, and then again coming out. It's really hassle now that you remain stressful, as you mentioned. What are the reasons? There are many reasons. It's very hard to pinpoint one. Starting from the infrastructure, whether it's a civil infrastructures, our check-ins, our terminal, whether it's an SOP that we call, really we need to have, we call in aviation terminology, a collaborative decision making, ACDM, which is a process, which is a combination of process and technologies to make sure all the stakeholders having a hassle-free operation. And passengers and the airlines are the most important stakeholders. You don't have passengers, the airlines cannot operate, and the airports do not generate the revenue.
I think
So the
even
reason,
before the airline is the passenger, it's important.
exactly. So the passengers now, another reasons now, we need to have an infrastructure, which is, I would say, as I mentioned, Islamabad is the only greenfield airport since the inception of Pakistan that we could create. The infrastructure of other airport, Karachi is very outdated. We have been doing the survey. We have been having a technical exchange workshops. Lahore has been developed, but still a lot more to go, and they are doing it. I would say the country has a focus now.
Right.
Faisalabad, Multan. I mean, great example of Sialkot, the civilian, the city. You know, the city stakeholders gathered together, build an airport. Very, I would say, convenience to travel, and it's growing now. Why it happened? They have an outstanding facility. Number two, they have an SOPs to really use the data in your program yesterday. I mean, were interviewing one lady, and very nicely you touched base on the digitization and digitalization, two different
True.
things. So
Point.
digitization mean we need to have a data from every asset we have at the airport, process that data, which is called digitalization, using
Exactly.
artificial intelligence, using blockchain, using IoT, get to know when and where we'll have the peak of the passengers, arrange your operations accordingly, make sure now that passengers having a touchless or even contactless experience
True.
through going through the check-in, getting the baggage handlings, getting out of the airports, and all these SOPs and use of technologies will contribute that you don't need to go 2 hours before your home. You don't need to really take 1.5 hours to get out of the airport, go through the get your luggage and get out. So if we go
Exactly.
through all these SOPs and technologies, then we create a collaborative decision making between all stakeholders. And I think this is what, when our prime minister talks about the technology, talks about the green fields and green airports or smart airports, Shahzad, I feel that now, alhamdulillah, our aviation industry in Pakistan is growing at the rate of 9 to 10%, which is
Okay.
double than the international because of a great population we have. So we need to apply SOPs. And another answer to your question, the last one, if I may compile, we really do not have a competitive landscaping of many low-cost carriers. As you give example of US and
True.
European
That's
and
true.
Asian airports here, low-cost carrier, if we have more carriers, we create more competitive landscaping. The cost of traveling will go down. The airports will get more revenue, and then they will be forced and they will be driven to apply these technologies, because keep on upgrading the infrastructure is not the answer. The answer lies to have and to use the technologies.
Wow, it's wonderful, and thank you very much for for giving me such a comprehensive answer, and thank you very much for being on the same page, because this is something which I've been thinking about for a longer period of time, that how it needs to be hassle free for the people so that it takes lesser time rather than taking more time. But now, sir,
Yeah.
okay, we have talked enough about aviation, and let me be very honest over here as well, because I always wanted to be a fighter pilot myself. Tried
Great.
attempting the exam to, kind of enter the Pakistan Air Force, but failed 3 exams out of 4, hence landed on a television channel as well. But now coming down towards how you actually have a soft heart where you want to help a lot of people, even while you were within the aviation industry, you created a lot of job opportunities for your Pakistani people as well, which I believe
Yeah.
is wonderfully well. But how and why did you come up with this concept of helping hands, where I actually read about helping hands quite a lot as well, where you're helping a lot of people, and the setup you have in place is that first, there's an entire team who are actually going to go verify a case, and all of a sudden, when it's verified, you rush to help that gentleman or the lady or whoever is in need. So, first of all, why helping hands, and why do you have this setup of verifying whether the case is genuine or not? Genuine, yes.
Shazada, I'm really pleased and thank you very much for really studying about helping hands, presenting us, giving us the opportunity. And I mean, again, the kind of service that you are also giving to the society through this platform, which I really often watch your program.
Thank you.
I mean, I'm really grateful. You could not go to the Pakistan Air Force, but the landing you have from this show and serving the community is also is tremendous and marvelous, sir. So
Thank you.
first of all, thanks on that. Secondly, why helping hand? I mean, I belong from upper middle class family from the area. You may have heard the name Talagang and Chakwal. It's my
Yes.
native area.
I
I
have a lot of
studied my
friends from
initially and
Chakwal too.
then went out as as I explained my professional career. But right from my childhood, I have seen my father, Sheikh Shafiq Ahmed. He has been a front runner, and he has learned from his forefathers, as you mentioned and you explained in your program, that by giving others you will get more, and you are blessed and chosen by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that if you are able to help someone else, because Allah has to help his his people, deserving fellows, it depends to whom he will be chosen. So I have seen the blessings in my home from the childhood. Although he was not he was a businessman, not full time working on that, but I have seen the blessings and the satisfaction that he got. Right from the beginning, my mother, she passed away, and my father, they taught me that the moment you feel you are in a position to, help others, you need to give back to the society, because that's how Allah will keep on giving you more and more. I learned that lesson and I followed it. So Alhamdulillah, I became the head of Middle East in, based in Dubai. And at that point, 2013, I thought this is the time now. I have achieved a certain objective and goals. I'm in a position now not to forget the lesson that I have learned, and this is the time to take off on my side. So, with a handful of people now, less than five, we started that, helping those fellows, especially in need of getting education, because they couldn't afford even to get a basic education, healthcare facilities, diseases like cancers, like kidney transplants. They are, and they have been so expensive now. A common man is not able to afford, and they really struggle even to get the basic treatment for those diseases now. We started approaching, and how did we do it? What's the modus operandi? As you explained briefly, but I'll elaborate more. We made sure now that wherever we go, we use our own resources, our friends, our relatives, our loved ones, and we have a like-minded. As we say in Urdu, मैं तो यूं ही चला था जानिब मंजिल मगर लोग मिलते गए और कारवां बनता गया. So it happened exactly like that now. So the moment me and I started sharing with my close friends and family members, and I'm blessed to have those people now in helping hand, that they are volunteers. They always reach out those cases. We have a certain SOPs in place where we made sure that we fulfill the need. We don't just give cash just to help someone, because then that's how we do not treat the concern now. We just keep them habitual or and of receiving the funds now. So we went away, and so far now it's been 8 years. I'm proud to say that we started from one city. Today, around in 9 cities of Pakistan, we are operating, having free food distribution of 500 plus people every day, having with the support of an organization called Sabah Homes, where my father, he is now full-time committed to serve as a vice chairman of Sabah Homes. So we are supporting a girls orphan center, boys orphan center, Sabah School of Excellence. In addition, more than 500 families every month, we are reaching out to help their needs again in education, in getting the health coverage. We are going to the remote areas of like Diji Khan, Brahim Yar Khan, Tonsa, where there is a serious water shortage problem, and we help certain organizations there. Helping Hand is need to connect with other organizations now. So we contribute and we provide the fresh and clean water facilities. And alhamdulillah, it's going on. The moment today I am operating as a vice president of Asia based in Kuala Lumpur. And when I moved here around 1.5 years ago, as you mentioned, I mean, this Pakistani nation is great. Wherever you go and you talk to them to help others, they are the front runners. They are the first one to come forward and support. And I'm blessed to have friends here. We also expanded Helping Hand here in Kuala Lumpur, and we started helping refugees here. But most important, our own Pakistani diasporas, unfortunately stranded Pakistanis, lying in the prisons now for a small shortage of funds now that they cannot have it. We coordinated with the Pakistani High Commission. They are doing a wonderful job here. And then again, with the help of people, now we are the one arranging funds together here with friends, a team of the friends here, making sure now that those stranded Pakistanis get out of the prison. It's really a miserable story if I don't have a time to share that. But more than 25 already, we in the period of 1 year, we could get them out of the prison. They are back home. We made sure now that they are having a job in back home. And in addition, in this tough situation of COVID, we made sure now that those who have lost the jobs and they need to feed their families. So we, again, group of friends with our own services, without asking, without going in public for asking any donation, we are again doing from our side. Alhamdulillah, I must say that we have contributed all in Pakistan, 9 cities I mentioned, in Philippines, in Africa, in Afghanistan, and now as well as in Kuala Lumpur now, wherever we could reach using our friends
Sheikh
and
Saab, it's
relatives.
wonderful, and inshallah, Allah will give you the right ajr for it as well, and please make sure that you continue to do so. But sir, very quickly before we wrap up this segment, there's one last question which I have for you, and Alhamdulillah, you have had such an excellent career as well, and alhamdulillah, after that you happen to be a wonderful human being where you have that soft heart where you feel for other people, and I believe it's great and it's God gifted, and Allah chooses you to kind of be out there for other people to help them as well. It's wonderful. But sir, towards the end, the only question I'm going to ask you is, because I've interviewed a lot of NGOs, and last time, alhamdulillah, the overseas Pakistani Global Foundation people were here, the chairman, the president were here, and they alhamdulillah thanked PTV World and World this morning, because the last time when they were here, they actually had risen the issue, or they pinpointed the issue of how they were Pakistani people or expats, you know, within the Saudi jails. Alhamdulillah, right after the program, they were being released. It's wonderful. But sir, now what I want to ask towards the end is that, you know, you said that, you know, you're looking into education, you're looking into having or giving them a healthier lifestyle, you're making sure that there's ration distribution as well, and that there are a lot of people who actually are not able to feed themselves or their families, that you feed them, and all of it is great. And you know, when I listen to it, I feel that, you know, at least, you know, there are people out there, because, you know, who actually still believe in humanity, and that's what you're doing. But sir, don't you think that the NGOs actually really need to kind of come up with the concept of where they teach people how to fish rather than giving them the fish itself? So is your organization Helping Hands working towards that as well? Because every single day you go to the same person. I do not want to put it that way, but that's how it is. And you know that the person might still be there, because it at times get an easier way of getting anything and everything which you might want at that particular point of time. But do you think Helping Hands in near future will come up with an ideology where they will be teaching people or giving opportunities that they can have their own businesses so that they can sustain, and sustainability is something which everybody wants in their life?
Shadab, very valid question. Alhamdulillah, I'm very pleased to say that we have started this concept. Don't feed the fish, teach them how to get a fish, around 3 years ago. So today, I mean, we have already operation now, few Pakistani friends, and they are listening today. We help them now to settle their business so that they can be self-sufficient, have their own business, and help others now. So that's how we plan to extend our operation. In Karachi, we have, you know, people already started their business in Lahore, in Rawalpindi, even now here in Philippines, in Malaysia. We always say there are two categories: those who are aged, do not have really any means or any, I would say, energy to do the business. We continue to help them. But wherever we feel now a young talent is there with some skills, we help them to settle their own business. And not only that, two more things we started recently, having a vocational centers. One, Sabah Home, as I mentioned now, we are supporting Sabah Homes to set up that vocational center. So we teach the girls, of course, separately, as well as the boys now, to have some skills, you know, they can earn, and then they can get into the society and settle them. And secondly, here in also in Kuala Lumpur, we again worked on the same principle now, that always helping those, you know, local either refugees or Pakistanis. If we keep on feeding them with the funds now, they will never be able to get up and on their own now. So we also starting here a skills development center, and I hope that these actions, either we go on target setting of the businesses or having a journal centers to develop the skills. This is the future where we need to work more and more. And
Oh, that's
finally,
wonderful. That's wonderful,
yeah,
Bakasa. But since we're short on time as well, I would love to thank you. Then, you know, thank you very much for being a part of our show as well, and for letting everybody know about Helping Hands. And I believe that the initiative is great. And may you have all sorts of success in your life, and your entire team as well. Thank you very much, Sheikh Saab, for being with us. It was lovely to be in conversation with you. Allah
my
Pak
pleasure.
aapko hamesha khush rakhe. But now, ladies and gentlemen, where we were actually talking about how people need to be given an opportunity, because there are a lot of people who really want to work by themselves, and they have this self-esteem still intact, and they would never ever want or go outside or step outside to make sure that they're going to ask people for help as well. So, you know, we do have those gentlemen and women over here within our own society. If given an opportunity, they will always, or they would always want to do it by themselves as well, rather than seeking help, or rather than having a hand which is always asking. So it's wonderful. And there are a particular chunk of people who are going to come into action as well, which is why we're very lucky that we've actually been joined by somebody who was, first of all, the former president of FPCCI as well. She was the founding member of the Women Chamber of Commerce as well, and now she happens to be the president of IWCCI. She is Ms. Naima Ansari. She's with us. Hello, assalamu alaikum. How are you? Good morning.
Walaikum salam.
Thank you very much for joining us. It's wonderful to have you. So first things first, when there is a Chamber of Commerce and when you were the Vice President of FPCCI as well, why do you think there was a need for a separate chamber for women? Let's talk about that first.
Okay, so I'll start because you were mentioning the Air Force. So being a daughter of Air Force officer who served Air Force for 23 years, who always taught us to fly high in the sky and to find opportunities by ourselves. And again, a daughter of a mother who's extraordinary, a doer and a dedicated. She actually founded Islamabad Women Chamber of Commerce and Industry, Ms. Samina Fazil. So, yes, there are chambers, but as I said, that the country we live in, and that the women entrepreneurs, they have different kind of businesses. Usually smaller ones. So when she started her business and she was a member of one of the chamber, and she realized that this platform is here, but it is not helping women entrepreneurs with the fullest. And because
how did you identify that they were?
She identified. It's not me, because
no, but there might be a few reasons for that.
Yeah, because that we live in a man-dominating society. Number
come
one.
on.
Yes, we do. Yes,
Really?
we do.
Okay.
And when a woman starts a business, her business is usually very small. Initially,
Obviously.
it is. And
anybody's business is very
everybody's
small
business is small, but they were not facilitated as they were supposed to. So she started this back in 2000. Earlier, there was no law that a separate women chamber can be for women entrepreneurs. The law got approved in 2007. It took her 7 years to make government understand that there is a need for a separate women chamber that facilitate women, that groom women, that help women to do business in a better manner, because we also work as an institution.
Exactly.
And now, alhamdulillah, there are almost 20 women chambers in Pakistan. You name it. There is a chamber in Gilgit-Baltistan that just got registered this year. There is a chamber in Laya even. So you know that that the country we live in, I mean, there's still social barriers. If I'm sitting here in Islamabad, if a woman come to me, she's usually accompanied by her father, by her husband, by her brother. So when they come, they see that this is an enabling environment for our daughter, for our sister to go at.
And
so
they
appreciate.
Them to go,
so they allow. So I think that was the reason that there can be a separate women chamber for a woman. And most importantly, like obviously when they're businessmen, they have their fellow friends to help them. So when they're women, and they're very few, initially there were very few. So we advocated them that, okay, if you have to do a business, you need to have a national tax number. Okay, and then there are specific trainings, workshops, seminars that they go through, and obviously that help them to grow their business.
So you've equipped them, and that's wonderful. Thank you very much for kind of sharing, in so much depth as well, that how more than 20 women chambers now exist all over Pakistan, and there was one which was just registered in Gilgit-Baltistan as well, which I believe is great. But don't you think that when if I'm not saying, or if I'm not imposing that there shouldn't be any women chamber of commerce, but don't you think that when men and women, they work under the same roof, may it be the Chamber of Commerce, may it be Rawalpindi or Islamabad or anywhere, don't you think that there are more opportunities then for people to grow rather than having an individual chamber?
So basically, that earlier where there was no concept of women chamber, there were very few women in business. So this chamber obviously provided a platform and encouraged women entrepreneurs to start business. So because that the activities we do, that usually mainstream chambers are not doing, because we have to facilitate all the tier of businesses. There are few people who want to start a business. So we obviously help them prepare a business plan. We help them how to get it registered at SECP or FBR. So these are the facilities that I don't think the other mainstream chambers are giving. So, and I mentioned that obviously we live in a country where there's still social barriers for women at workplace. So why not for women at business as well?
It's wonderful. So it's sort of a preschooling, So just before going to
that's obviously chambers are supposed to create linkages. But apart from linkages, we also work as an institution where a new business can get membership and grow.
Wow.
So it's not just in the national market. We have 15 official delegations. Lastly, we were at the Dubai Expo, World Expo 2020, and before that at Beauty Istanbul. So we have explored different countries. These delegations are important where these women entrepreneurs get to see that what kind of product the world require. So they also work as a learning opportunity for them, and then they can create linkages and make contacts to export.
Yes, and exactly that's what our Prime Minister has been talking about, that we really need to kind of increase our exports, and we will, inshallah, and with the help of women and men coming together, I think it's going to be a great deal for anybody and everybody to kind of work under this umbrella of Chamber of Commerce's as well. When we talk about women, I think it's really important for women to step up in their game, because the total global population of women is more than 55%. So, if they're not going to work, I think it'll be too much for the men to kind of, do the work and then bring back whatever they want to serve their family with, which is, I believe, is great. Now, when we talk about, and you mentioned that, women, they initially start with their smaller businesses, smaller steps as well. What are those most common businesses women are entering within the Pakistani market and the international market? Let's talk about that.
So like earlier there was a concept that women can only enter into, let's say, clothing line or jewelry or accessories. But now women are going towards more unconventional businesses as well. My immediate former president, she is currently running a service business where she has employed almost above 200 people, providing cleaning services, and then pandemic came, the disinfection services to the community.
So everybody's being innovative.
So before that, Madam Farida Rashid, she runs a petrol pump. And before that, Madam Rizwan Asif, she runs a international educational consultancy. So now women are stepping in, and you know that with the advancement, a lot of women entrepreneurs are running digital agencies. One of our members, she runs a plastic factory. So you name it and we have it. So it's that concept.
So let me think of an industry where I want women to work in as well. But you please continue meanwhile I'm thinking.
So like my business, because I started film, so I opened up my little production facility where we do documentary filming and post production. So now I think the game of women in Pakistan is stepping up.
It's rising, and we want them to rise, and we want them to be our Shana Bashana as well, and that's what we do. Unfortunately, because Shiza is actually fighting against COVID, otherwise I do have a female co-host who represents Pakistan from the same passion I do as well, and this is what we want to show the world, that that we have inclusivity, equality within our culture as well, and it's really important. And for somebody like me who's got 3 daughters, that's what I think about the most as well, that how they really need to have their education first, have their own jobs or businesses in the first place, and then think about their futures, which I believe is great. But since you mentioned that how women are indulging in so many different businesses, let's talk about those key points where the Women Chamber of Commerce actually helps them to achieve their goals. Because half of the time, there's societal pressure, there's pressure from your household as well. You have to look after the kids. So, what are those things which are being facilitated to the people or to the women who are the members of the Women Chamber of Commerce?
So, as I mentioned, that there are also home-based businesses in Pakistan.
Baking.
And majority of women entrepreneurs are involved in home-based businesses. For them, we do exhibitions. We have a calendar event that we do every year, Islamabad Expo, and it is not just for the Twin Cities. Women from far-flung areas from all across Pakistan participate in that event. Exhibitions is one, and at the very same time, there are workshops like when pandemic hit. So we have trained almost 200 women entrepreneurs with the help of Facebook, where they converted their businesses into digital shops, so that they can easily run the businesses, because that there were no exhibitions happening. And apart from that, we also have a window where they get the tax consultation, and if they have to get their business registered, because that there is a myth that if you get your business registered, that means tax people are going to run after you. So I always tell them that I got my business registered the moment I got my NIC made, right at the age of 18. So and then I did my all the education after that as well, but my business was registered earlier. So all these kind of facilities, and you know that it also serve as a learning platform where the women who are already running bigger businesses, they work and they inspire many young women to obviously start and grow. So you know, in the current scenario, like I always think that why do we rank 142, 152 out of 156, whereas in reality I see whoever is around me is working hard.
That's the exact reason why the FBR people are running after them, because people are not paying their taxes.
People are paying the taxes,
Yes.
but obviously there are many.
I know
who
there are exceptions, but just on a lighter note, because
yeah,
you're a
exactly.
morning show.
But when
Yes.
it comes to women, so they are very particular about
Taxes?
Taxes and everything.
Okay, I have a couple of interesting questions.
No. So I was just mentioning it's because we do not have the right projection.
Yep.
I mean, I see a lot of women working, but because they are not projected anywhere.
Yep.
When it comes to, let's say, mainstream media, they're doing successful businesses, and then they are very much, let's say, busy doing the businesses.
True.
So they do not look for the projection and stuff like that. True. If we start doing that, the number might decrease on the global index as well.
And you know, we are always there. We will always welcome you for anybody and everybody. This platform is here to make sure that we actually reach out to a lot of people in 46 different countries, but not just that, we want to support the people of Pakistan in whatever initiatives they take. So may it be ranging from the medicine point of view to coming down to how people really need to come up with their businesses and how they need to project them. Well, this morning will always play a role. But I have two questions, and on a very lighter note as well, because the Women Chamber of Commerce is doing a great job. Number one, now what I want to kind of ask you about is that, alhamdulillah, you know, within my own family, I'm blessed to have 5 sisters, and everyone works, okay? So everybody has their own businesses as well. Alhamdulillah, we have a chain of clinics in the Twin Cities. And just very recently, even my wife started her own venture and her own business, where it's not just a clothing line, but it totally depends on imports and exports as well. The only problem what I've witnessed is that, you know, when women start their own businesses, you know, just like how people expect men to go back home and, you know, give a certain amount of money to their wives and for their children, that, hey, you know what, you guys enjoy and do whatever you want to buy and whatnot. As soon as the women, they start earning, they really do not spend on their husbands. That's something I have witnessed. Why do you think that happens?
They're spending on their children at the same time.
Obviously, they're spending on their children. But as soon as women, they start earning, they really have a blind eye towards their husband. So I was like, hey, you know what, you really need to get me something, because you just started your own business. Hey, you know what, I'm not supposed to do that for you. So why do you think that happens? I'm not saying that everybody does that, but why does that happen?
But maybe if they are not spending in the monetary form, so they are spending, let's say, in terms of giving time to the kids that you don't.
True, that was a great answer.
So yes, because I have witnessed that. I mean, because my mother, she also ran a business, and I had seen her doing a lot of things for us.
Mashallah.
I mean,
your mother will, but you know.
But generically, there is so much that the men doesn't know, that the kids need, that the house need.
That's true.
Like, I mean, if somebody has to go get the naan from the tandoor, do you think that you pay that money usually? That's the woman in the house.
Allah makes me pay that.
That's the woman in the house. That's the woman in the house. She's present there and she pays.
True.
So there is again, there is a lot of thing that the woman does, but that goes unacknowledged and usually sometimes unappreciated. So it is what is all about. I think it is right time to appreciate, to acknowledge what your spouse is helping you towards. I mean, if she's earning, that means that better education. Yeah, you are earning.
Yes, exactly.
At least she's not fighting over the petty issues of, let's say,
family
politics, or so you know, when a woman works, so because she has already so much on her head, in her mind, going all the time about the family, about the kids, and about the business as well, because the business needs growth.
True.
So, yeah.
You know, since we're short on time as well, but thank you very much, Naima Ansari, for being with us. Happens to be the president of IWCCI. You're doing a wonderful job by providing such wonderful opportunities to the women out there, enabling them, giving them that enabling environment which was required so that we excel as well. Thank you very much once again. But for everybody who's out there, ladies and gentlemen, there were a few questions on a very lighter note as well. But towards the end, since I belong to that segment of the society where, you know, I was a 90s kid, and, you know, so we do have those norms and values where how the men really needs to do everything in their household and, you know, kind of afford it. But ladies and gentlemen, things are changing, and, you know, since we are evolving with time, we really need to come together as partners, talk about it, and make sure wherever the support is required, whoever is willing and is ready, make sure that they support their partners as well. But ladies and gentlemen, with that, we're actually heading out, and it's because of the fact that we're short on time. Our news anchors are on the desk as well. We want them to share a lot of good news with you today, since the PSL Season 7 is starting, and you will witness it on PTV Sports HD. Till the next time, look after yourselves. Good morning. Bye. Thank you.